Holy sh! I just discovered the biggest cheat code to building muscle.
This is something I discovered a few years ago, and it's been the easiest thing that has been enabled me to add an extra 100 grams of protein per day. High quality protein as well, with almost no effort whatsoever. So basically, this is
What's up guys, Derek, moreplateSmartEats.com. Today we're going to be talking about egg whites. And this is a video that I actually had sort of blow up. It was like one of my first videos to do really well on YouTube. It's called The Easiest Way to Get an Extra 100 plus grams of protein per day. And in this, I basically talked about how this is actually recorded in 2017. I just had it in my, I don't remember why I didn't post it. I had a bunch of random videos that were just like backlogged, and I just kept them in my computer until I think I was only posting like once a month on YouTube or something in 2017, and I had this backlog of videos. So, and I didn't even think this video would get any views really. And then I just figured in 2018, I have some random videos that I haven't posted yet. Why not throw them up? And I threw this one up, and it got a lot of views. And this at the time was like a huge deal. So basically in this, I elaborate how a notable forum bodybuilder, who I don't know if he was actually a good bodybuilder or not, but supposedly he was a very good national competitor, and he was somebody I was sort of deferring to years ago about advice on gear and diet and shit like that. And one of the things he often talked about was drinking liquid egg whites to get protein in. And the reason being is because it can be very difficult to get in more meals with a lot of meat in them when you are bulking, and when you have no appetite, it's a lot easier to slam a liquid. And some people's digestive systems can't handle whey protein that well. It's often thought that egg whites are like a perfect protein. And by the way, I'm just saying the reasons. I'm not saying I agree with any of this shit. I'm just saying at the time this was the logic. And liquid egg whites, they're easy to drink. They don't taste that bad, even though, you know, some people think it tastes like shit. To be honest, I think you just have a weak ass taste buds if you can't handle liquid egg whites. Like, it's not that bad. And it's, you know, supposedly like the most bioavailable source of protein and blah, blah, blah. And it's like this great thing. And there's even companies that are born out of this shit, like Muscle Egg, I think, is one of them. And so it was like an easy way for me to get an extra 50 to 100 grams of protein in per day just by having like a 500 to 1 liter carton of egg whites. And I noticed once I get over about 500 milliliters, I think, my digestion would start to go to shit, and you start having like liquid shit. So that in itself would show you, okay, you're having too much right now. But anything under that I could tolerate fairly easily, and seemed to be fine. However, my knowledge at the time, this is a perfect example of continuously learning and always trying to educate yourself and progress your knowledge base, because every year I make the previous year me look like an idiot pretty much. And that is my goal every year, is to make the year before me look dumb. And this me is definitely dumber than I am now, because that me, when I was looking into neutralizing Avidin, the furthest I went to look into it was data collected from companies that were actually selling the shit. And I didn't realize at the time how much deeper I should go into actually look at some of the clinical studies done on pasteurized egg whites and the bioavailability and the Avidin, you know, the actual breaking down of the protein that binds up biotin. If you know, one of the main concerns aside from, oh, you know, raw egg whites are not going to be as bioavailable as cooked. And by the way, they're pasteurized, they're not raw. So I don't know why so many people in the comments section like this. The reason I'm talking about this, by the way, is because there was a TikTok that went viral about this egg white video. So it's kind of like back in the circulation of being posted everywhere. I'm getting tagged like a motherfucker. So obviously I want to come out and talk about it, because my reference point in 2017 is not the same as it is now. So basically the two main concerns are, is it bioavailable? Is it as bioavailable as, you know, any other source of protein that you would consider high quality? And in addition to that, is the pasteurization process a high enough temperature to neutralize the avidin? So a lot of people, the first thing that they are overlooking is the fact, actually I'll show you the viral video first and then we'll kind of get into some of the science and shit.
Holy shit, I just discovered the biggest cheat code to building muscle.
This is something I discovered a few years ago, and it's been the easiest thing that has been enabled me to add an extra 100 grams of protein per day. High quality protein as well, with almost no effort whatsoever. So basically, this is egg whites in a carton, pasteurized egg.
So this video ended up getting, last I checked, it was at like 1.3 million views or something insane. Whereas my original video got, it's at like 580,000 and it's been up for like 3 fucking years. So anyways, I don't know what it is with TikTok and like the disproportionate views, but it's fucking insane. So anyways, Elijah or Ellie, or what do you go by? Ellie Mendez? I probably said that wrong, but anyways. So he posts, a reaction to my video and he's learning about the liquid egg white thing for the first time, which then, it goes viral. There's 128,000 likes, almost 1,000 comments, and there's a lot of people trying to debate whether it's actually a viable strategy or not. He does some follow-up videos where he actually tries it out and, a lot of people say, oh, it tastes like shit, blah, blah, blah. He does my strategy I outlined in the video, which was, hey, at the time, this... Keep in mind, back then, I was like, the knowledge about diet too was like, I would choose the shit that was like the least real food. Like I'd pick random shit that just like tasted good and I thought was, good, diet hack or whatever. So I used to put Walden Farms chocolate syrup, which is 0 calorie, in the egg whites, shake it up, and then it would taste like the best chocolate, milkshake that you could possibly have that's like pure high quality protein was like the whole idea. And it does actually taste good. And anyone who says otherwise, I think is fucking insane, to be honest. Well, obviously everyone has their own preference, but it doesn't taste as bad as some people make out. So anyways, he tries it here.
All right, so I actually bought egg whites today and we're gonna give it a taste test.
Not bad. All right, cheers. Yo, that's not bad at all.
Exactly, so it's not that bad. So anyways, then in the next video, he ends up trying the mixture. He doesn't use the Walden Farms chocolate syrup, but he puts in his own whey protein into egg whites, which is actually a strategy a lot of people do. They'll mix in a little bit of egg whites with their whey protein and instead of water.
Why didn't I think of that? All right, time to put it to the test. Yo, that's good.
Yeah, so it is good. So thing is like for me, I used to put egg whites in like everything. I was like, oh, if I'm gonna have cereal, why would I use milk when I can use fucking egg whites? So I'd put cereal in egg whites and I'd get an extra, 50 grams of protein out of it. If I was gonna have a protein shake, I use egg whites instead of water. Why would I use fucking water when I can put in pure protein? So, and that led to a lot of, if I went over a certain amount, I started to realize that my body couldn't tolerate it that well. But there was definitely a level where I did tolerate it. But then that got to the question of the evident thing, the bioavailability thing. What is the real answer? And, there's a lot of debate about this, and it's interesting because it's not so clear cut because there's a lot of companies out there that will mislead the shit out of you. So this company, for example, Muscle Egg, this is probably the most well-known company that sells pasteurized egg whites, actually marketed for bodybuilders as a like ready to drink thing. And as far as I know, I think they flavor them too. So anyways, they say the first thing that should be noted, which for some reason goes overlooked a lot, is this is not raw. Pasteurized egg whites are heated to a certain degree. It's not, boiling, but they're actually heated to a point where they get rid of the bacteria. So there is heat applied to it. And it is not raw, it is drinkable, and it is safe to drink. You're not gonna get salmonella. It is actually something you can drink, and it's fine to drink, but is the pasteurization temperature high enough to destroy the avidin? So they talk about it in here. Is Muscle Egg raw egg whites? No, there's a difference between raw egg whites and pasteurized egg whites. Muscle Egg whites are pasteurized for safety and filtered for a silky feel. Eggs you crack yourself tend to not have a great texture for drinking and can contain harmful bacteria such as salmonella. Muscle egg whites are pasteurized and filtered to be as smooth as chocolate milk and perfectly safe to drink. What is pasteurization and why do you do it? We pasteurize all of our egg whites at a temperature high enough to kill all bacterium of concern like E. coli and salmonella, but low enough to keep its liquid properties. This results in egg whites that are safe to consume right out of the jug. This also neutralizes avidin found in egg whites and makes it the most bioavailable source of protein available. So obviously a pretty bold claim. And is it true though? So this is where, you know, I would get my information from, like fucking a handful of years ago. I'd be like, oh, well, obviously they couldn't be lying to me. So that's gotta be it, right? And that is, like their proposal is that you can drink it right out of the carton, which you can, by the way. If it's pasteurized, you're not going to get salmonella or some shit. The pasteurization process does work to get rid of that, you know, harmful bacteria. But does it get rid of the avidin? Does it become the most bioavailable protein you can get? Here's another company, NFPT, National Federation of Professional Trainers. Let's see, So egg whites, this is like their company, I guess, Egg Whites International. And they say here, our 100% pure liquid egg whites are heat pasteurized and salmonella tested. The pasteurization process heats the egg white to 134 degrees for 3.5 minutes. This heat kills the salmonella and neutralizes the avidin to allow the egg whites to be digested safely by the human body. When you cook an egg white to the point of scrambled eggs, you are overcooking the protein and denaturing the true value of the protein. Therefore, 100% pure liquid egg whites are liquid but not raw, making them the purest form of protein in the entire world. They will stay good in your refrigerator for 90 to 120 days and can be safely kept frozen indefinitely. So, oh, and they mention up here the human body cannot completely and safely digest a raw egg. So if you like to do the Rocky routine with a raw egg or raw egg white in your drink, you are wasting your time, not to mention the threat of salmonella. Avidin, which is found in raw egg whites, blocks the uptake of biotin, causing a vitamin deficiency. You must cook the egg white to neutralize the avidin and allow your body to safely digest the protein and utilize all its amino acids. Unfortunately, cooking also starts to destroy the protein. And then they talk about the pasteurization thing that I just said. So what is the actual temperature that, you know, liquid egg whites are pasteurized? So they mentioned in theirs 134 degrees. Now, as far as I know, the rough range for most of these companies is about 115 to 135 degrees. And the length of time, you know, I guess it can vary, but I mean, in general, that is the range between 115 to 135 degrees that is being used for pasteurization. So comparing that to the actual temperature that is needed to break down avidin, based on the clinical literature, it appears to be around above 85 degrees Celsius, which is 185 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's the temperature that is like guaranteed to work. Now it can also be destabilized at temperatures above 70 Celsius, which is 158 degrees Fahrenheit. So between 70 Celsius and 85 Celsius, there's like a bit of wiggle room between like guaranteeing it's like totally destroyed versus, you know, the decomposition of it is, you know, not guaranteed. It could be incomplete to some extent. So remember the pasteurization temperature, upwards of 135 Fahrenheit. So in the clinical literature, we find that avidin can remain stable up to 158 Fahrenheit. So if we have pasteurization occurring at 135 on the high end, and avidin is stable up until 158, are we actually getting enough of the avidin, you know, destroyed in order to avoid the biotin deficiency issues? It does not seem to be the case. It seems like, and this study that I have up on the screen is an assay for the Journal of Food Science that detected substantial avidin activity in cooked egg white. So even after poaching and boiling it, an egg white for 2 minutes, they found that 33, 71, and 40% of the activity in raw egg white was still there of the avidin. So the assay essentially concluded that the cooking times were not sufficient to adequately heat all the cold spot areas within the egg white, and you would need to boil it for over 4 minutes to get a complete deactivation of the, you know, binding properties of the avidin. So if you're not even getting complete inactivation above 158 Fahrenheit, up until 185, we don't know for certain that we're going to get complete inactivation, then how could any company be claiming that 134 degrees is sufficient enough to completely neutralize the biotin binding properties of the avidin? Like, it simply does not seem to be the case. So I think we can pretty much conclude that the temperature that most of these companies are using for pasteurization, despite their claims of, oh, you know, 134 degrees, more than enough to neutralize the avidin, you know, based on the clinical literature, it does not seem to be the case. It seems like the temperature is actually at least like 25 degrees off of where you need it to be in order to get some sort of inactivation. And at that point, it's still not even guaranteed to be complete. You would need to be pushing it even higher than that to guarantee that outcome. So I think it's safe to conclude on our end that pasteurized egg whites can indeed cause a biotin deficiency. Now, what would you do to attenuate that if you were, dead set on drinking the egg whites is you would supplement with a biotin supplement. And this is why I think there was like a model in ants, believe it or not. They had like egg white induced biotin deficiency in ants, and they supplemented them with biotin and found that it attenuated much of the issues caused by the pasteurized egg whites. And indeed, it was actually pasteurized, believe it or not. So this is the ant study I was just referring to. And as you can see in experiment 1, survival effect of protein type, they actually did use pasteurized egg whites. So they said here the egg white was pasteurized at a temperature of 56 degrees Celsius for 3 to 5 minutes and cooled at 3 degrees Celsius. Since temperatures greater than 70 degrees Celsius are required to denature avidin, a constituent of egg white, this was not denatured in our diet. So basically the ants had biotin deficiency as a result of the egg whites, and then they had to be supplemented with biotin in order to attenuate that. And so as far as I think we've already kind of resolved the avidin thing. So if you're going to be drinking them, you should probably be supplementing with biotin on top. And I'm not saying you should drink them, I'm just saying that like some people are, and if they're going to, then you definitely need to have a biotin supplement on top. Now, as far as the bioavailability goes, there's not a whole lot of data comparing raw egg whites, pasteurized egg whites, cooked egg whites. There's really not a lot to go off of, so a lot of people are just speculating. There is some limited data on heating has no effect on the net protein utilization from egg whites in rats. So this is a rodent model. And so in here they compared unheated, soft boiled, and boiled. And they found that the net protein utilization rate was similar among the unheated, soft boiled, and boiled egg white groups. However, this is a rodent model. So one of the more relevant human models that I guess we can look to is digestibility of cooked and raw egg protein in humans as assessed by stable isotope techniques. So this is, I wanted to include both just in case, because, there's not a whole lot of data, but of the data we have, I wanted to include both for our own reference, but this is the human one, obviously, so a bit more ideal. This one compares the true allele digestibility of cooked and raw egg protein amounted to 90.9% for the cooked and 51.3% for the raw, respectively. So this is raw though, not pasteurized. A significant negative correlation was found between the, let's see. So yeah, basically assimilation of cooked egg protein is efficient, all but incomplete. So it's not 100%. And the digestibility of egg protein is significantly enhanced by heat pre-treatment. So you have to keep in mind the pasteurization process uses heat. It's just not high enough to actually get rid of the avidin. And it's probably not high enough to increase the bioavailability to as high as it could be either. So what is the answer on the bioavailability thing? Somewhere between 51.3 and 90.9%, but I don't know what it is, but it's, you're certainly not getting everything. Now, obviously when you compare bioavailability of a lot of different protein sources, you can find that you're not getting everything of a lot of different shit, but when it comes to egg whites, there is a clear difference from what, is inferred in the data that I can see between having it raw all the way up to the, full-blown cooked. So what should you do ideally? We know that the pasteurization process is not enough to get rid of the avidin. We know that the pasteurization process is not enough probably to maximize the bioavailability of it. We don't know for certain. I'm just going by, what's implied. So what would you do? Ideally, you would cook it. That would be the ideal scenario probably. If you are somebody who absolutely cannot get in more food, and this is something that's like a fucking huge benefit to your diet, and it makes like a huge difference in you being able to hit your target protein allotment for the day, is this something I would totally advise against? It's kind of an individual decision at the end of the day. Like I'll tell you anecdotally, upwards of 250 to 500 milliliters. 500 was like pushing it. 250 I could tolerate very well. It had no impact on my digestive system. Everything seemed to be fine. And I kind of liked it, to be honest, when I'd mix it with either whey or I'd, put the Walden Farm shit in it. Tasted really good to me. It was kind of like it was a nice, like, I don't know, like an appetite, I don't know, like something that tasted good too while I was dieting down and getting my protein in really easily with something that tasted good. And especially when you're bulking, your appetite sucks, getting something in easily that's a high quality protein. So, like maybe you don't even mind taking a, 30, 40% hit of the bioavailability when you otherwise would need to eat, you know, another fucking 6 to 8 ounces of meat that you can't possibly get down or something like that. I don't know. You know, it's kind of an individual decision. So if you're gonna do it though, supplement with the biotin, and yeah, that's the main thing, and just understand what you could be getting out of it potentially if you were cooking it. Now the pasteurization, I don't know what the like yield is overall, but the ballpark is somewhere between 51 to 90.9% from what I can see, at least based on this one study in 1998. Maybe there is more recent data that is more relevant that somebody can drop down in the comments that can help elucidate this, but from what I can tell, it seems like the ideal scenario would probably be cooking it. So take from that what you will. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. You know, this is something I actually used to do a lot, and I'm like, I get deja vu and kind of like, or nostalgia when I think of it, because I used to slam a ton of this shit. And, you know, I never even really liked eating egg whites. So sometimes this was actually like a nice little treat for me to drink this shit. But it's good to actually show the real data and actually be able to interpret it correctly finally. And my, actually, not just believing some random company because they have something to sell you, but, that is the, my breakdown of it. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you have any more relevant data that can, you know, help elucidate the kind of final conclusion we can come to. I think I've kind of basically given the groundwork here, but if there's more studies, obviously they'd be good to reference as well. And maybe I'll do a follow-up if we find enough data that is, you know, worth touching on. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, check out my blog, moreplates.com. Follow me on Instagram at moreplates_moredates, Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. My TRT clinic, it's all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home, Gorilla Mind. Nootropic formulas, Gorilla Mode, pre-workout formulas I designed myself from scratch, and anything else I'm associated with. It's all in the video description below. I feel like that was a record for the fastest I said that shit without spitting on my computer screen. So talk to you guys soon.